All right, suckers, let's go. Let's do this. It's time for my team of the year in the Premier League, but I'm not gonna do it like the PFA does or did because, first off, I think it's bullshit that they vote on the player of the year and the team of the year before the season is over. I mean, what if Virgil van Dijk makes a mistake and maybe slips, which ends up costing Liverpool the league title? Would you still think he deserved the award? You probably wouldn't. So these games at the end, which we could argue are the biggest games of the season, should count in how you vote. And with modern technology making things infinitely easier, just stick a tablet in front of each player after the end of the last game of the season, give them 10 minutes to vote, and they can just collect all the data, and then name the person the very next day. I don't think it would be too hard. Also, I'm not even following my own rule of waiting until the end of the season, but that's because I'm responding to what the PFA just announced, or that's what I'm telling myself to justify why I'm doing this. Second, two, I wish the PFA Team of the Year had more representation than just Liverpool and City players and Paul motherfucking Pogba, because it just feels like it doesn't represent the league as a whole or honor the players that have had fantastic seasons with clubs on smaller budgets, or the players that aren't surrounded with as much talent as some of those other guys. So my team of the year only allows me to choose one player per team, and this is what I came up with, and it's in a 4-3-3 formation, and starting in goal is West Ham's Lucas Fabianski, because the guys had to make more saves than any other goalkeeper this season, which has helped the Hammers and their manager, Manuel Pellegrini, save some face and finish comfortably in the middle of the table. Now, yes, I know he has 13 less clean sheets than Alisson, who leads the league in that category, but he's made twice as many saves, and crucial ones at that, which has most definitely won West Ham some vital points this season. And then in my back four, I'm going with Crystal Palace's Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the right, because the 21-year-old is doing work week in and week out and being one of the bright spots on a bang average team, which means I'd be surprised if he didn't get purchased this summer by a club that's a lot bigger. And then next to him, holding it down, is one of my two center backs. It's Virgil van Dijk, who's kept Liverpool competing for the league title all the way to the end, and he's helped them to a league-high 18 clean sheets and the best defensive record of any team in the Premier League, all while his goalkeeper had to face the third least amount of shots on goal all season, which speaks to how well Virgil van Dijk keeps things organized in front of him and how well he defends in general, and how, well, it doesn't really speak to how good he is with his feet, but he's also awesome with his feet. The dude is a beast. And the other man in the middle is Wolves' Willy Boly. Yes, the 28-year-old has done it on both sides of the ball this season, notching 4 goals and helping his club earn 12 clean sheets during his 34 league starts, which has helped Wolves be tied with Everton as the 5th best defense in the league. And speaking of Everton, rounding out my back four is a Toffees left back, Lucas Digne, who, with all due respect to Andy Robertson, who did get named to the PFA Team of the Year, Digne doesn't have the luxury of playing next to arguably the best defender in the whole entire world, nor does he have the consistently good attacking players in front of him like Liverpool's front three. And I think if he did play for Liverpool, and let's say Robertson played for Everton, I think Digne would do a lot more than Robertson has done for Liverpool, while Robertson would do less than Digne has done for Everton, if that makes any sense. And actually, I think that's the best way to do a compare and contrast, if you flip-flop them on their respective teams. Which means, as a recap, I have a West Ham goalkeeper, a Crystal Palace right back, Liverpool and Wolves center backs, and an Everton left back. So if you're not writing this down, which I would like you to do, but in case you're not, I'm just keeping you up to date. And now for my next wave of 3, this is where I think we could possibly disagree, because despite what you think of him, Paul motherfucking Pogba has been the best player on a pretty average United team this season. And I need someone from that club to be represented, but it does make me wonder just how good he could be if he was surrounded by better players and perhaps a better manager during his time with United, but that's a conversation for another time. And then next to him, I'm going with Leicester City's James Madison, who has played exceptionally well for his first ever season in the Premier League with 7 goals and 7 assists so far. But I think Madison's teammate, Wilfred Ndidi, could slide into this team instead of him, because then he would hold things down so that Pogba could be more of the box-to-box guy that we all know Pogba would prefer to be. Which leaves us with that last spot in midfield, and it's going to Spurs' Heung-min Son, who for me has been the most valuable player for his North London club this season, so I had to find a spot for him in my squad. And given the fact that he is so versatile and can play so many different positions and still score 12 goals and notch 6 assists and 22 starts so far this season, it just verifies his influence and his ability to adapt to any situation that he's thrown into, which is a great sign for the team I'm building since I'm throwing him into a right-sided cam role with some defensive responsibilities. And then up top, this felt a bit easier to choose because I'm going with Eden Hazard on one side, who was probably the biggest snub from the PFA Team of the Year after putting up the best numbers of his career with 16 goals and 13 assists, and what felt like him single-handedly keeping Chelsea in the chase for the top 4, which they should achieve, barring an epic collapse, which I think would be a nice going-away present from him to the Chelsea supporters, since he's most definitely moving on to Real Madrid next season. And then on the other side, it's Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who has amassed 19 goals and 5 assists in 28 games, which, to put some context onto that, only puts him 2 goals behind goal-scoring leader Mo Salah, who has 21. So even though it feels like somewhat of a quiet year for Pierre-Emerick, it's anything but. Though, helping his club finish in the top 4 would go a long way to solidifying his selection in my squad. And then finally, last but not least, I'm going with Manchester City's Sergio Aguero, who I believe continues to prove why he's the most important player on the defending champions, because he scores important goals, match-winning goals. And I say this with all due respect to the oldest Young Player of the Year award winner ever, Raheem Sterling, and Bernardo Silva, and David Silva, and Laporte, and Ederson, and Leroy Sané, and the glue in midfield Fernandinho have all been fantastic this season as well. I just don't think City are where they are on the table without Aguero's contributions. So that is it. That is my team, and let's take another look at them. And honestly, I think it's pretty fucking good, but I'm sure you're gonna say otherwise, so let me know what you would do different, and then send me the link where you're saying these things publicly so I can comment that you have no idea what you're talking about. That would be pretty fun for me. All right, I'm done. Later.